put me with this fool.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Nandi and your girl is officially a fourth semester MSN student, and my specialty is pediatrics primary care. So today I decided to do something a little bit different for you guys. You guys see me all the time, okay? I decided to go ahead and get a few of my friends together and film a Q&A panel for you guys. So there will be a representative from each specialty. Okay, so I have today in part one of this video will be adult gero and women's health nurse practitioner students, and then part two will be pediatrics and family nurse practitioner students. So I'm sure you guys, if you watch my videos and you peep the merch, you know that we will all be students who attend Emory University, and our program is currently ranked number 2 in the country right now. So we're giving you guys the tea. Okay, this video is also in collaboration with my brand Noire Medical Women, which is a brand dedicated to inspiring and promoting women of color in medicine. So if you guys are interested in shopping any of the merch that you'll see in today's video, be sure to check out the description down below. Also, if the ladies are comfortable, I will share their social media handles down below as well. So be sure to check that out. I really hope that you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let's go ahead and hop into it. So we are here for part one with the 2 students. So I'll let them go ahead and introduce yourselves. Just say what your name is, your age, and where you're from.
So my name is Candace. I'm 39 and I'm from Orlando, Florida.
And I am Kay Ramsey, okay. And I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, but I've lived in Atlanta for like the last 20 years, and I'm 43.
Beautiful. So how did you both know that you were interested in nursing?
I didn't know, actually. It just kind of happened. I used to work for a commercial bank, Washington Mutual. And when I was there working, I was a teller, and I started to come across a lot of nurses. And they would tell me about the profession, and then I kind of looked into it and then decided I was going to do it from there. But it wasn't like I have an aspiration to be a nurse.
100% you want to be a nurse, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, mine is a little different. So I actually went the MD route out of the country and was a medical student for a little bit. And then it was like doing one of my clinical rotations that I just noticed a difference myself in care. And it just kind of made me realize, like, this wasn't the route. The MD route wasn't the route for me. So I came back to Atlanta. And then I started to do a little bit more research on nursing in general. And it wasn't just I knew I wanted to be a nurse or a nurse practitioner. I just know that I do, can say that I enjoy nursing, and I enjoy the bedside care that nurses provide versus MDs. I just feel like it's just totally different. Hopefully that makes sense.
That's real. So tell us what school you attend and what your specialty is.
So I attend Emory University School of Nursing, and my specialty is women's health.
I also.
Okay.
Emory caramel chocolate honeys, okay? No, we both attend Emory, clearly. And my specialty is adult gero primary care. However, I truly want to specialize in endocrinology.
Okay. And for women's health, did you say primary or acute? Or do you choose? How does that work?
No, it's just women's
regular
health.
Women's health.
They have just, as of my cohort, they're changing it. So it's no longer women's health. It's women's gender related.
Nice. Love that.
Oh,
because
wow.
there was actually someone who asked me that question. So, if you're watching this video, we have Candace to answer that question for you. Okay, awesome. So why did both of you choose to go to Emory?
Well, keeping it 100.
As you should.
Well, the first thing is, of course, Emory is like, what do they call it? The Harvard of the South, right? So,
Right.
It's one of the top, actually, 3 programs now. In the country, if I'm not mistaken.
We're number 2 right now.
Oh, we're number 2.
Yep.
Okay, so it keeps moving. So that was another, and I'm sure that you probably looked at that as well. And also, this program was perfect because it's kind of, can we call it a dual program where you were already?
Yeah, I was already a nurse.
So I was not a nurse. So it's a program that allows us to pretty much go straight through. So we started off as little students, okay? And I don't know if you've explained the program, how you have to have a degree and all of that good stuff in your previous.
You can give them a brief synopsis.
Well, just a little brief. For this program, so what was it? It was the ABSN to AMSN, and we all kind of started the program with different degrees from different schools. Like my bachelor's degree is in psychology, and I have an associate's degree in biology. So in order to apply, am I right to say to apply to the program, you have to already have a degree or some background or some bachelor's degree. And for me, it was perfect because, okay, I can obtain my RN and then I can obtain my master's as well in such a short amount of time, which this program allows you to do. So that's another reason why I chose to attend Emory.
So likewise, all of that, but also I did not want to travel. When I started this program, my baby was 3 months old, so attending a school out of state, traveling for clinical, that was out of the question for me. So.
That's a good reason. Yeah. So why did you each choose your specialty?
I've always loved everything women's health. When I got into nursing school, undergrad, that was just the topics that I gravitated more towards. The OB topics, the GYN topics. I don't know because it's more relatable because I am a woman, but it's just kind of where I found my niche. So.
Mm-hmm. For me, initially I wanted to go actually in acute care, but the school had certain things kind of set in place to where we couldn't. But I'm happy that I chose to go the adult general route because I kind of found my passion for endocrinology, and I figured that out actually maybe a couple semesters ago. And I'll probably get into that a little bit more later. No, yeah.
You can.
But I do. I love endocrinology. Everybody should look into going into or specializing in endocrinology because a lot of the population, maybe 80% of the patients that I would see in the population will have or had diabetes. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the main reasons why I want to go into endocrinology is because I do want to serve our community. And take care of our people.
All right.
Yeah.
Period. Cool. So what experience did each of you have in the field of medicine prior to starting this program?
So
I've
been an RN for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I graduated with my BSN in 2014. And from there, I worked postpartum, did a little bit of pediatrics, did not like peds. I kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything, but for the past 5 years before starting the program, I was working at home. So telephone triage for United Healthcare.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, Candace. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yes, ma'am.
You got some real experience, honey. Well, so was I. That's nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I've always, since I kind of figured out that I wanted to go into medicine, I didn't work, let's just call it kind of free labor. So I would do a lot of volunteer work and a lot of shadowing and things of that nature. I obtained my phlebotomy certification.
Me too.
That was
really?
Girl,
I want to do that though.
Mm-mm.
No, why?
You don't.
Why?
Look, you don't, girl. No. Mm-mm.
I mean,
because for one, it's the process of doing it is exciting. It's fun. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like people move, they yank. You have to worry about hematoma. Like I can't.
But that's okay.
I couldn't get into it because I don't want to do like little baby. Like I couldn't do it.
I still want to do that. I think starting IVs and drawing blood, all of that is good. But you don't really get that experience unless you're like an L&D nurse for, my area.
For her specialty.
Yeah, for my specialty.
To be honest, even like as an MP, when we were doing our clinic, like we don't do any of the you don't do vital. I mean, you miss out on a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like your vitals and actually giving injections and vaccines. I haven't seen not one.
Really?
No. No, because it's primary care. So remember, you have your medical assistants that do everything.
Either
before
the MAs or the nurses.
Or the nurses will come and do the vaccines.
So they get. Oh, okay. Must be nice. We give all vaccines.
Really? No, we don't.
That's
the nurses
cool,
do. The nurses would, and then the MAs again will come and do all the vitals. So it's just like you're missing that, I guess, in your day to day. But anyway, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. So this is the big question that the world wants to know.
Oh.
So if you had to choose all over, right? Would you go the regular or the accelerated route, and why?
So I don't know if I can really answer that because
you weren't accelerated, right?
Right, I wasn't accelerated.
But you're accelerated for the MSN, right?
But I think so. For my program, it's only full-time or part-time.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you can't really choose.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh well, for sure.
Okay.
The only okay. Because throughout our undergrad portion, I used to be like, we shouldn't have did this. We shouldn't have did this. We need to slow down. Because what you feel like that you're not kind of retaining everything that you've learned. But when in fact, you are. You are. You're just taking small little pieces and you're retaining that information. Because I personally thought, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pass my boards. Because it's so accelerated. But at the same time, you do. You study hard, you'll make it through, even though it is accelerated, but you'll be fine. And I couldn't see myself taking 3 or 4 years to do something you've just done in what was it, 2 years?
A year and a half.
Was it a year and a half?
A year and a half.
See, you're talking about each program separately, yeah.
So
like a year.
It's a year. See, that's what I'm saying. 2 years, perfect. Because we have one more semester and we're all done.
We're done.
We're done.
Period. Okay. So I guess this one will also be more so for Kay. But what would you say are some of the pros and cons of doing an accelerated program? You kind of talked about some of the pros already.
The pros,
just
clearly,
being done.
done.
What do you feel like are some of the cons?
The time. It's done. You're done. Okay, and that's because of my age. Now, if I was a lot younger, like in my 20s, then I wouldn't. But the time is definitely a pro for me.
And then con, I know you talked about
retaining the information because it's like when you don't use it, you definitely lose it. And you're constantly moving on to new things, new classes, new information, and it's hard to retain it all, and it's hard to study. When your time is just like you're in a time crunch and you're doing clinicals, and it's just those are definitely the cons. But if I can do it all over again, I would definitely stay in the accelerated program.
All right.
Yeah.
So, what was your hardest course in your program so far, and what would you say was your easiest and why? And both of you can answer this one.
Girl, I know you're gonna say farm. Are you gonna say farm?
No, I was actually gonna say patho.
Oh, girl, patho, of course.
Yeah.
Patho.
Advanced.
Hardest or easiest?
Hardest.
Oh, hardest was patho, but I think it's just how it was presented. I think it's just how it was presented. That's what we're gonna say about patho, because I think it wouldn't have been as hard had we had it been presented differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Presented as in the way it was taught.
Yeah, I'm
just
trying.
She was trying to be nice.
I'm just trying to be nice and not just be the truth.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
We real over here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But following that would be farm.
Yeah, it would definitely be farm. Even though love, I don't know if we can we say name?
That's fine. No, they don't know me.
Oh, well,
the teachers don't know me. They don't know me.
I love Dr. Muller. So he was an amazing, amazing farm professor. He's an amazing farm professor. He's still there at Emory. Even though it was hard, it wasn't hard. It's just a lot of information to remember.
Just a lot of information.
But he made it really easy for you to kind of retain that information. So,
Yeah.
it was just those.
His review sessions.
So those two were the top hardest.
Yes.
So what were your easiest?
Maybe health assessment. I mean, it was a lot of little parts to it, right? But overall, like the exams weren't like horrible. Because I don't really have a
I don't have a favorite. Do not. I'll say outside of my specialty classes, but
not favorite, but just like easiest.
Oh, easy.
Easy. The becoming an APRN class. Was that first semester?
No, girl, that wasn't no real class.
Hey,
Not that one.
Easiest would have been that class.
It was easy.
Was that the one we had to do those recordings? Hi, my name is Kay.
I think we did.
We did the recordings, right?
We did.
That would have been the easiest class, yes. But the class that I probably learned and kind of enjoyed, that was kind of easy, was health assessment. Because I feel like that class kind of, it incorporated a lot of different pieces, right? Even from undergrad, where you were learning, you know, your head to toe, and then you were moved on, and you know, in your masters, and now we're doing soap notes and you know,
right,
good stuff like that. But
okay,
that's it.
So this question would also be for Kay.
Okay.
So since you did the dual program, right? Which would you say was harder? Obtaining your BSN or obtaining your MSN?
Oh, girl,
and
the
why?
BSN. Oh, I don't know. That BSN. Okay. For one, we were COVID students. Okay. So our program was majority initially online. So all of the health assessment that I'm speaking of, when you're doing head to toes, you had to record yourself, and Nadia and I actually were partners for a lot of that, where we would have to record ourselves
over and
over. I mean, you may be doing it like 50 times because you slipped up or you didn't put your gloves on, you know, for sterile technique. I mean, it was awful.
That's awful.
But we learned, like we learned. But the BS, and you know what it was, is that we all had been out of school for a while, and the BSN came and was like here. It was like 5 classes, and it was like classes. I mean, it wasn't easy stuff, you know. And we're all trying to learn online. We're all trying to learn each other and establish friendships all through Zoom.
I know that's right.
So it was a bit much. It was a time, but I will say the BSN, even the content to me was a little harder, or it could just be that maybe we're in the master's program now and we've kind of mastered that information and it made it easier, you know, for the second part.
And everyone's in their specialty, you know?
Yeah.
So it's also more
It's
what
specific,
you actually
right?
want to learn.
Yeah, it's specific.
So,
yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your clinical experiences and just like interacting with various nurses, doctors, going to different sites, because we're at different sites each semester. So we can talk a little bit about that. How's your experience been?
I have had some really good clinical rotations. My first one was OB triage at Emory Midtown. And so my preceptor was a nurse midwife. So that was interesting to see that scope of practice. She actually does not deliver anymore. So that was kind of interesting to see that aspect of midwifery. And then just kind of how women's health would tie into that. So a lot of the things that she would point out to me is, hey, this is what you can do into the office, so that you don't have to necessarily send everything to OB triage. So that was a good aspect of it. My second rotation for last semester, I did 2 simultaneously. So I did Planned Parenthood and Urogyne. I absolutely loved Planned Parenthood. I got so much hands-on experience.
I didn't even know that was an option at the school.
I didn't either.
That is crazy.
I
love
still
that.
an option because of everything that's going on.
I love that though.
Yeah, but they're still open because they provide just regular like women's health care, right? Okay.
Yeah. So like I've put in so many IUDs. At Planned Parenthood, yes. I feel like I can put an ID in my sleep. So
really?
yes.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It is.
So it was really awesome. Urogyne was different. Not saying that would be, I don't think that would be something that I would want to do out, you know, in practice, but it was great experience. And my preceptor was so smart. Black nurse practitioner, and she is brilliant. So it was really good to follow her. and get experience from her. So
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, for me, I'm trying to think of my first clinical rotation was with Lindsay, who's now my mentor, and she is also actually a Black PA.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I learned so much from her. She helped me to kind of figure out my path, because that's where I fell in love with endocrinology, was in clinic with her. And she also specializes in endocrinology, but it was an amazing experience. Like, she's amazingly smart. She is so smart, to where it had me like, am I ever going to be on this level?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It makes you question. And she's like, I've been doing this for 22 years, okay? She was like, give yourself a break. But she was amazing. I learned so much from her. And the staff there was amazing. I will say that probably 90% of the staff was African American. So it was great working in that, because you always hear, like, in the medical field, that there's a limited number of not successful, but just Black people, not just Black women, but Black people in general, Black men, Black nurses, Black doctors. Yeah. This whole office, from the MAs
really
to the PAs.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you don't get that often for the entire practice.
Right. It was 90%. And that was definitely, I would call it a dope experience, because I had never experienced that before. And even after that, what did I do? Orthopedics, which was spine. Wasn't my favorite rotation at all, but I learned a lot. But I can say working in that environment was totally different. It was a little drier, like, for me. I don't know. I didn't feel as welcomed. So, but again, I don't know, because I was working, even though she was an MP, we were working with a spine surgeon. So I don't know if, I'm not saying the personality isn't there, but they were just like strictly business. So I just didn't feel as, warm and fuzzy as I felt in my adult gero.
So there I feel like that's what surgery kind of, when I think about
they're
surgery,
like dry, right?
Yeah, that's what I think
about.
No
personality. They're not willing to teach you.
Right.
They're
It's people that are in and out type of thing.
You know
what I mean?
It was very in and out, but he was very nice. He was a nice.
So you followed the surgeon. There wasn't a nurse practitioner.
So there was a nurse practitioner, and the whole setup was totally different. But she worked closely with the surgeon. She didn't go to surgery, but she would, because he would do clinic and say who he's gonna do surgery on and who he's not. But we were all in this small space together, and it was just super dry. It just wasn't my favorite. Now, urology, I didn't think that I would learn a lot in my urology rotation, which I had a 2 that last semester, but I did. I learned so much. Yeah, I learned a lot. So, and everybody was super, super nice there. Even even all the doctors, but maybe one. But he's another surgeon that probably makes like $1 million a year. That one. So his personality matched his bankroll. Okay, but other than that, everybody, they were really sweet, and they were willing to help me in any way. So I appreciate that.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some things you wish you knew prior to starting this program?
Nothing. Because, no, seriously, nothing. Because had I known any inkling of
this, you wouldn't have came?
I would not.
I heard that.
You wouldn't have came.
I would have given myself
I see how you're looking at it.
Reason
not to come and not to go to him. I agree. I just knew that it was, like I said, what I said before, why I chose to go to Emory, that it was one of the top programs. We didn't know what we know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you catch that drift. If you catch your drift.
Catch it.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what we're going to leave there. Okay.
And sis said we are moving on.
Moving on.
All right, next question. How do you balance it all? So how do you balance it all, like regarding classes, clinicals, homework, social life? In this case, Candace, we know you're a mom.
Yeah,
so
to hear you.
Yeah.
I am still trying to balance it all. I am not the most organized person. I actually watched one of your YouTube videos on how you get yourself organized for the semester. And I was like, oh my gosh, she is so organized. I'm just all over the place. But But for me, it's just really been my support system. My mother-in-law, well, soon to be mother-in-law, and my fiance have been really, really supportive with childcare. When I started this program, my baby was 3 months, and so that was almost a determining factor of me not to go, because I didn't know how I was going to balance it all. Like when I applied to the program, because we applied like the year before, and so when I applied to the program, I wasn't pregnant, and so I found
life was different.
It was different, So I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm going to grad school, and then by the time I found out that I got accepted into the program, now I'm pregnant. So I'm like, yeah, I didn't think I was going to go. And then my mother-in-law was like, listen, I'm going to help you with him. Don't you worry about it. You go to school. And
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
she and Dad have been holding me down. And so that's how I've been balancing. But I still have some work to do. Nandy has to give me some tips.
I'm crying.
She always got something. I gotta get this. Where did this from? Always got something over there, girl.
Okay, how do you balance it, friend?
Initially, I didn't balance it. I had during undergrad, that wasn't as bad. The master's program actually turned on my anxiety switch. Because initially, I couldn't figure out how to balance it, right? Like, for one, you may be driving a clinical like an hour each way.
True.
That alone is a bit much. And then you get to clinical, and then you're nervous, and then you figure out how much you don't know. That caused me to have even more anxiety, and just trying to keep up. Because initially, what was our first semester? It was it patho and farm?
No, farm was last semester.
So it was patho,
health assessment.
Yes. Like your core classes, becoming APRN. Like it still was 5 or 6 classes at a time.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot, and I just couldn't balance it because I would get home, and you drive an hour to get home, and then you eat, and you look up, and it's almost 8:00, and you have to study. But then you have to get up at 5:30 again tomorrow to go to clinical and do it all over again. Right. So I could not figure out how to balance it all, which caused me to have extreme anxiety, to be perfectly honest and transparent. But I've kind of figured it all out. I figured it all out. Yeah. Little therapy don't hurt nobody.
I know that's right. Listen, we support mental health over here. It's very important,
honey.
Especially in these rigorous programs. Like I feel like it's something that's not talked about enough, and you have to take care of you. Period.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So I'm good now.
We love that. All right. So what are some life lessons you wish you learned in this program, or you have learned, I should say, while being in this program?
Life lesson? Question. Oh, you gonna hit us with the life lessons?
Yeah.
I am.
My sister. Life lessons that I learned in this program? Life lessons.
Or just anything you feel like you've learned or has made you better throughout this program.
Well, you know what? I will say this, that I am, because you deal with people from different walks of life, right? And it just kind of makes you appreciate everybody for who they are. Sometimes I feel like we get kind of stuck in our bubble, right? We're used to being around this population or this, and it definitely opened my eyes to, just different, like I said, types of people and from different walks of life. And it's been, and I'm saying that in a positive way.
Right.
I will say that.
So for me, a life lesson, I would just go back to the previous question, is you need help and you need support. And for me, I've always been independent. I'm going to do it myself. I got it. And going through this program, being a new mom, you definitely need that village. You need support. And I had to get comfortable with allowing people to help me.
Right.
No, I think that's good. And also throw in there that sometimes you may not have help, like help from family and friends. And you may, going back to mental health, it's okay to seek help outside of your friends and your family. Sure. Sure.
Good stuff.
All right, so now we get into the juicy stuff, okay?
Was that wasn't juicy?
Right. Right.
We need to be covering our...
We do.
What's next?
We are not finished and we do not have jobs yet.
Not yet.
Listen. It's all good. It's all good. But no, just, being honest and transparent. Obviously, we go to Emory. We know Emory's number 2 in the country, high ranked. We already said Harvard of the South, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that it's been a rigorous program. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that with the name alone, right? Mm-hmm. So how have you felt going through such a rigorous program at a PWI as a Black woman? Do you feel like you've encountered any challenges or obstacles that you've had to overcome? And then if so, how did you overcome it?
I'm not sure if I really had to personally. I've heard of others going through. Have you personally?
No, not personally.
I'm actually,
and I would say that even includes clinical experiences.
I've been lucky. I've been really lucky
Yes,
with all
you
of
have.
mine. I can't even.
Not with clinical.
No, not with clinical. I have been so lucky.
So with clinical, with me, not a lot of representation yet. Just Eurogyne, like I, spoke about previously. She was a Black nurse practitioner, but prior to that, no.
Well, now that you say that, yeah, I mean I've had one Black or African American PA. But again, that office was predominantly Black. But then the other offices, what I do find is that a lot of the MAs are Black.
Yeah, you do see that.
So, but yeah, not physicians, and there's a couple Black nurses. But I'm trying to think. I haven't really.
Well, that's good. Not any teachers, classmates. This includes your whole Emory experience.
Oh well, classmates, honey. I mean. Well, Emory as a whole, I haven't felt like that's a Black girl. You know what I mean? I don't.
Same.
I do take pride in being Black, and I do take pride in being, and I know other people may not be, being accepted into Emory. It's not a predominantly Black university. So I do take pride in that. I do take pride in saying that I was accepted into Emory, and I go to Emory, and I'm an Emory graduate.
Yes.
So I can't, but I will say this to our peers. I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to say that it's just it's a different upbringing and expectations. A lot of them don't have real life experience, and it shows. And sometimes it shows in a negative way. I don't know how to say it without being. I just feel like we had a lot of younger students, and I feel like they don't have life experience.
I agree with
a lot of them were spoiled, so it just caused a little bit of a lot of friction amongst us all.
Especially in the BSN.
The BSN was bad.
Really?
Oh my God. Because a lot of them were very young. You could tell that they were young, and they had degrees, and they probably never used them. So they didn't have real life experience, and it's just ended up being a mess in the BSN program. But I think now that we've all a lot of them have left the program, and I feel like they've grown a little since we've entered the master's program, and we're all into our individual specialties.
We're all separated.
Yeah, we're all separated now, so it's a little different. But no, I haven't had any issues. But again, I know of other people that have had issues with certain professors.
Right.
And I'll leave it there.
We will leave it at that.
Yes.
All right. So why do each of you feel like it is important to have Black women in the field of medicine?
Representation
is everything.
Everything.
It is everything.
Studies have shown Black patients have better outcomes when they are cared for by Black healthcare professionals.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is it.
When I say that is it, that is it. Okay.
Right.
So important.
It is very, very important.
And what are each of you can talk about your own individual future plans, goals for yourself, maybe where you see yourself working?
I am gonna save my goals I don't like to talk about them.
You just want to knock them down.
Yeah,
girl. Just one at a time.
Right.
Yeah, but definitely see myself starting out working with, or I'm not even going to say starting out. I definitely feel like there is a need in underserved populations of women, especially seeing my experience with Planned Parenthood. I definitely think that there is a need in an underserved population. So that is where I want to focus initially, and then we'll just kind of see how it goes from there.
Same for me. Again, I'm trying to get into endocrinology. Okay, I'm trying. Okay,
Diabetes.
It's my thing. But but I do also. Well, it's my choice. I pray that it's my choice when it's time to find work, because you never know.
Sure.
Is to work in underserved communities, anywhere. You could be in South Georgia.
Oh, you willing to travel?
I am. I'm willing to. Yes, in order to serve the population, because that's always been my thing, and everybody else will be like, what? But it is. I do, whether it's in, near Grady in downtown Atlanta or on the west side of Atlanta. I mean, that's the population that I want to serve. So if I have to travel in order to do that, then I'm for it. I mean, nothing ridiculous, but yeah, I am.
That's great.
That is great.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, last and final question, ladies. So, just overall, any advice that you would give to students watching this who are interested in becoming a nurse practitioner or just like field of medicine in general, what would you say to them?
I would say just do it. Go for it. You often hear all the reasons that you shouldn't. Nurse practitioners, the market is saturated. You can make the same money being an RN. I mean, you hear all the negative and all the reasons why you shouldn't. So, not a lot of people highlight why you should. So, if that's what you want to do it.
I'm with Candace. Just do it. Do it. And don't let anyone talk you out of it. Or, because I allowed someone to kind of voice their opinion and kind of talk me down a different path.
Same.
So don't. You can do it. And we are underrepresented in the medical field. And again, you always hear the NPs are saturated, PAs are saturated. Girl, last time I was in the doctor's office, I was there for 2 hours. They need us. They need mid-level. So again, you can do it. Just press forward.
Yay.
Look at us. Every semester, every semester, we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. And then it's like we make it.
Yeah.
Look at us sitting here, girl. Look.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me fix my. Candace has her.
Now I gotta pop the collar. Okay.
Let me pop it a little. Honey.
We love it. We love it. Hey. Well, thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
For joining us.
This has been a lot of fun, right?
And I'm sure you have helped a lot of people, a lot of students. And thank you again. You guys, be sure to stay tuned for part 2. And we will catch you in the next video. Say bye.